My phone buzzed just as I was signing Leo out of daycare, expecting a message from David about dinner. I glanced at the screen. Moving to Spain with Jackie, I've transferred our savings to my account. Good luck paying rent. My pen froze. Leo tugged at my sleeve, blissfully unaware that our lives had just been upended. Mommy, did you bring my dinosaur snacks? I forced a smile, signed the sheet, and typed back the only thing I could manage, thanks for the update. 3 words that concealed the storm inside me. Jackie, his assistant. Our savings, 8 years of sacrifice. Rent, due in 3 days. My name is Suzanne Mitchell, 37, mother to 4-year-old Leo, and, apparently, the soon-to-be ex-wife of a man who chose to disappear with the tap of a keyboard. What I wanted was simple: stability for my son, financial security, a life free from David's reckless choices. What I had instead was a bank account nearly empty and a child who still asked, "Where's Daddy? Is he making spaghetti tonight?" "Daddy's on a trip," I said softly, the first of many half-truths. "We'll have pizza." Later, while Leo watched cartoons, I called the bank. The rep confirmed my worst fear: $42,731, gone. Transferred to David's private account. Our checking balance? $347. 12. Rent, $2,200. As panic sank in, David's mother called. "Suzanne, what have you done?" Her voice dripped with accusation. "David says you're refusing to let him see Leo." "What? He's moved to Spain and drained our accounts." "Don't lie to me," she snapped. "He showed me your messages. You're blackmailing him for alimony." Her certainty chilled me. David wasn't just leaving, he was rewriting the story, casting me as the villain, and people believed him. This was no longer about survival, it was about truth, and my son's future. I thought back to when David and I met at a publishing conference 9 years ago. He pursued me with charm, handwritten notes, extravagant dates. Within 6 months we were married. The early years were happy, careers on the rise, a condo in Chicago, modest travel, dreams for the future. Then Leo was born. I stepped back from full-time work. David took the reins financially. Slowly, cracks appeared: late nights, unexplained expenses, his mother's constant undermining. 2 years ago, we sold our condo to fund a doomed investment. When I suggested returning to work, David insisted, "Trust me, I've got everything under control." I wanted to believe him. But receipts for dinners, secretive phone calls, a hidden Barcelona guidebook, signs I chose to ignore, until now. The next day, I went to his office. "I'm sorry, Mrs. Mitchell," the receptionist said, uneasy. "David no longer works here. He resigned last week." Last week, while I was planning meals and preschool applications, he was plotting his escape. I called his friend Trevor. "You knew," I accused. Trevor hesitated. "He made me promise, said he needed a clean break. Jackie makes him happy." The words hit harder than I expected. "Did he tell you he drained our accounts?" Silence. Then, "Christ, Suzanne, I didn't know. That's awful." When I got home, a certified letter waited: divorce papers, filed a week earlier, address listed, Barcelona. The petition granted me full custody, no visitation, no obligations. David had walked away not just from me, but from his son, and he wanted the world to believe I pushed him out. This wasn't abandonment, it was a carefully executed erasure. "Mr. Mitchell has indicated you have substantial savings to cover your needs during this transition. He will not be providing spousal or child support." I collapsed onto the couch, papers scattered around me. Everything I thought I knew about my marriage now felt like a meticulously staged illusion. David hadn't just abandoned us, he had planned his escape, stripping me of resources and rewriting the story to make me the villain. A new text arrived. "Landed in Barcelona. Don't try to contact me. My lawyer will handle everything." Shock gave way to anger. For Leo's sake, I couldn't afford paralysis. Step 1, secure our housing. Step 2, gather evidence. Step 3, find a lawyer who could fight this. For the first time, I cried, not for David, but for the sheer mountain ahead. When the tears subsided, one thought burned steady: David had underestimated me. 3 days later, I sat across from Vivian Aguilar, a sharp-eyed divorce attorney. "What your husband did is reprehensible," she said after reviewing my documents, "but not entirely illegal. The good news: judges hate this behavior. We'll petition for emergency child support and freeze assets. What we need is proof he's still earning income." That night, while Leo slept, I combed through David's abandoned desk, Beneath old warranties I found an envelope addressed to his mother. Inside, a card thanking her for covering the Barcelona apartment deposit. Dated 3 months ago. She hadn't just known, she had financed his betrayal. Deeper in the desk, I unearthed tax returns, investment statements, and, most damning, a draft email to Jackie attaching his resume. His new job at Meridian Global Barcelona started 2 days after his text to me. Vivian's eyes gleamed when I brought the evidence. Perfect. We'll file for emergency orders immediately. The next morning, David's lawyer countered with a settlement offer, $5,000 to close everything. They're preying on your desperation, Vivian warned. Ignore it. David texted me directly that night, take the deal, Suzanne, you won't get more, be reasonable for once. I saved the message, fury simmering. 2 days later, an unexpected call came from Jackie's former roommate. They've been planning this for months, Bethany confessed. Offshore accounts, residency tricks in Spain. David said it would make fighting him too expensive. He wanted you to give up. Instead, we pushed harder. At the emergency hearing, David's attorney arrived, followed by Beatrice. You should be ashamed, she spat. Extorting my son when you're the one who ruined him. Vivian's tone was ice. Mrs. Mitchell, we'll be calling you as a witness regarding your financial support of your son's abandonment. Beatrice blanched but denied everything. The judge reviewed our evidence and granted every motion: child support, partial asset return, freezing accounts. A victory, though Beatrice's presence nagged at me. The answer came the next day with a call from Barcelona. This is Lucia Vega, HR Director at Meridian Global. I'm calling regarding your husband's employment. He's been terminated. We received your email. My email? I cut in. Yes, the one about his custody dispute and pending legal issues in the US. Company policy requires disclosure. Cold realization spread through me. Beatrice, she had impersonated me, using documents only she could have accessed during her recent visit. When I confronted David after he called raging, "You vindictive witch, you cost me my job," I told him the truth. It wasn't me, it was your mother. Silence, then doubt crept into his voice. That's ridiculous. Check the documents, they were in my apartment until she visited. The line went quiet. Finally, I'll call you back. 10 minutes later, an email from David landed in my inbox. Attached was something I never expected. The text thread between David and Beatrice revealed something far darker than financial betrayal. Once you're established in Spain, Beatrice had written, we can work on getting full custody of Leo. With Suzanne's history of depression after his birth, we can make a case that she's unstable. My postpartum depression, something I had clawed my way through with therapy and what I thought was David's support, had been weaponized all along. This wasn't just abandonment, it was an attempt to erase me from Leo's life. Vivian immediately filed new motions citing identity fraud, conspiracy, and custody manipulation, while also alerting the police. We've strengthened our position, she said grimly, but David still controls most of the assets. We need more. That more came from Trevor. Guilt finally overcame his silence. He mentioned an account in the Caymans. Trevor admitted, his mom helped set it up. I didn't think he'd ever use it to run from you and Leo. The name of the bank was enough to spark an idea. David always recycled variations of the same password. Hands shaking, I tested the most likely combination on his cloud storage. It worked. Inside were digital breadcrumbs of his escape, transfer receipts, messages with Beatrice about the offshore account, even a document titled Custody Strategy that outlined how they'd use my postpartum depression to strip me of Leo. I forwarded everything to Vivian. Within 48 hours, the judge froze David's Cayman account. David's attorney countered by accusing me of illegal hacking, but the evidence was too damning to dismiss. Then Jackie called. Her voice was flat, stripped of its usual bravado. David's unraveling. He's booked a flight to Chicago. I'm scared of what he might do. Why are you telling me this? Because he lied to me, too. He's hiding another account, one his mother doesn't know about, in Liechtenstein, over 200 grand. She wanted immunity in exchange for evidence. With Vivian's guidance, we agreed. Jackie sent bank statements and swore out a statement implicating both David and Beatrice. Hours before David's flight landed, the court granted an emergency restraining order. Airport security was waiting. When he called me from the holding office, his voice shook with fury. What the hell is this? I came back to fix things. With a one-way ticket and no hotel reservation? I shot back. See you in court. The next morning, David looked nothing like the polished man I once married. disheveled, defensive, unprepared. Vivian dismantled his facade piece by piece, the offshore accounts, Beatrice's forged emails, Jackie's testimony, and worst of all, the custody strategy. The judge's voice was ice. Mr. Mitchell, this court does not take kindly to calculated abandonment, financial fraud, and conspiracy to manipulate custody. All identified assets are hereby frozen. Your passport is surrendered. Full custody of the child is granted to Mrs. Mitchell, with only supervised visitation. A referral will be made to the district attorney regarding possible criminal charges. David slumped, beaten, across the courtroom. I held his gaze. For the first time, he looked small, trapped by the very web he had spun. The fallout was swift. Forensic accountants uncovered not just David's hidden money, but Beatrice's tax shelters. Both faced civil penalties. Beatrice was charged with identity fraud. David's reputation in publishing collapsed under the weight of public records. Jackie disappeared back to Spain. 6 months later, Leo and I moved into a modest condo of our own, purchased with recovered funds. It wasn't lavish, but it was safe. Ours. Is Daddy coming to visit? Leo asked one night as I tucked him into his dinosaur bedspread. I don't know, sweetheart, I told him honestly, but we'll be okay, no matter what. And we were. I returned to editing work with a publisher that valued parents. Leo thrived in preschool. The devastation David intended as my undoing had become the foundation of a stronger life. His parting text, "Good luck paying rent," hadn't been a curse after all. It was the spark that ignited the discovery of a strength I never knew I had.